Thank you for joining today's demonstration webinar for the Lighthouse AI state licensing software. Lighthouse AI is a software and service provider for organizations in the pharmaceutical supply chain, including manufacturers, wholesale distributors, 3PLs, and pharmacies. While Lighthouse AI provides a full suite of state licensing services, today's webinar is focused specifically on our state licensing software. The Lighthouse AI platform continuously assesses the state licensing requirements for each facility, including your initials, renewals, and changes. Then the software specifies the tasks to complete for each requirement and tracks the progress of each task. That's a quick 30-second explanation of our software, but we'll spend the next 30 minutes diving deeper and expanding on all that in greater detail. Now for some quick introductions. My name is Ryan Hall, and I'm the Director of Marketing for Lighthouse AI. Also on today's webinar is Tessa Farley. Tessa is our state licensing software training specialist. She is a seasoned learning and development professional with 8 years of technical training experience. Now, if this is your first time attending and you're unfamiliar with Lighthouse AI, here's a brief introduction. Lighthouse AI was born out of Pharma Solutions, a consulting and services company started in 2015 by our CEO and founder, Samit Singh. We have been engaged by over 700 clients across the pharmaceutical supply chain and currently manage over 13,000 licenses. And Lighthouse AI is dedicated to improving state licensing compliance for our clients through our software and service offerings. Now, before we start the demo, allow me to clarify 3 phrases we plan to use during today's webinar. First, we'll use the phrase state licensing to refer to facility licenses required by all agencies in all 50 states and additional jurisdictions like Puerto Rico. For example, state licenses such as California's non-resident wholesaler license or Arizona's resident manufacturer's license. Second, we'll use the phrase state licensing professionals to refer to those who manage state licensing for their company, meaning the person responsible to obtain, renew, and change licenses for their company's facility. And third, we'll use the phrase state licensing requirements to refer to all initial, renewal, and change requirements. By initial, I mean the requirement to obtain a license for the first time. By renewal, I mean the requirement to renew a license. And by change, I mean the agency requirements for when a reportable change occurs, such as a change of ownership, change of name, change of officer, and so on. All right, with those clarifications covered, let's take a look at what we'll be reviewing today. So we built the Lighthouse AI state licensing software to solve the many problems that cause state licensing professionals to be non-compliant with state licensing requirements. And that's why the Lighthouse AI software can help you immediately reduce your financial risk of non-compliance by 99.9%. That's because the Lighthouse AI software enables you to discover overlooked requirements, reduce avoidable deficiencies, and eliminate lost and forgotten tasks. Today, we'll show you how the software delivers each of those 3 benefits. But before we show you the software, allow me to explain what I mean by financial risk of non-compliance with a simple example. So, according to our market research, the typical facility with $75 million of annual revenue will lose $283,000 of that revenue each year over the next 5 years due to non-compliance with state licensing requirements. Why? Because a 50-state facility that is non-compliant with just 10% of each requirement type is non-compliant in 15 states. That's because non-compliance is cumulative, meaning that the facility is non-compliant in 30% of the states in which it conducts business. And by the way, that 30% non-compliance is not an exaggeration. We audited the 36 facilities we most recently onboarded. Those 36 facilities had an average non-compliance rate of 33%. And the scope of the audit did not include adherence to change requirements, which means the real number is likely higher than that 33%. And that leads me to believe that the typical person attending our webinars may be non-compliant with 30% of their state licensing requirements. Now, a facility that is 30% non-compliant across 50 states is non-compliant in 15 states. And if the facility faces adverse noncompliance in 20% of those 15 states, that means the facility will temporarily lose revenue in 3 states over the next 5 years. And by adverse noncompliance, I mean the percent of noncompliance that is caught and forces a facility to temporarily stop doing business in a state. And by the way, Lighthouse AI projects that the amount of noncompliance caught will increase exponentially. This is due to the introduction of peer-to-peer licensing enforcement brought on by DSCSA, and of course, the ever-increasing regulations in the industry. And all that equates to the $283,000 per year of lost revenue, assuming it takes an average of 3 months to correct the noncompliance when it's caught. And that's what I mean by financial risk of noncompliance. That's why the Lighthouse AI state licensing software is the fastest growing state licensing solution in the market. Because spending a little bit of money on software to protect a lot of revenue just makes financial sense. So now let me hand it over to Tessa to explain how the software reduces the risk of noncompliance, starting with how the software helps you discover overlooked requirements.
Thanks, Ryan. Hello, everyone. When you first log into the software, you will be greeted by your interactive dashboard, which will provide you with a bird's eye view of all of your active, pending, and expired requirements. With the use of the global filters here in the upper left corner, we are able to select the exact company and facility that we would like to view the requirements for. To access the facility assessment feature, hover over the navigational bar on the left and click Assessments 2.0. The facility assessment feature instantly determines what licenses a facility must hold so that you never overlook a license requirement with any agency in any jurisdiction for any reason. The assessment workflow in the software starts with a facility questionnaire that requires you to tell the software exactly what is happening at the facility that you are assessing. Our questionnaire is complete, and it's continuously updated to ensure that our assessments always provide accurate results. A team of Lighthouse AI researchers built this facility questionnaire by reviewing the over 700 state licenses that are divided across over 80 agencies across all jurisdictions. Specifically, they compiled a list of the facility attributes that determine which of those 700 plus licenses you must apply for. Users must confirm the presence or absence of 80 facility attributes that divide across the 5 categories we see on the screen. Starting with your business model, followed by your product portfolio, specific state regulated products, federal regulated products, and the jurisdictions into which those products are sold, shipped, or simply end up if you're a manufacturer. Because our questionnaire is complete, you can compel all necessary stakeholders into the same meeting to confirm all facility attributes with 100% accuracy. I point that out because that's not the default process for many companies doing this work themselves. State licensing professionals say that most companies capture maybe like 12% of their facility attributes incorrectly. And the reason they incorrectly capture facility attributes is because they can't compel all of the necessary stakeholders into the same meeting to confirm all of their facility attributes with 100% certainty. They can't do this because they don't have a complete list of facility attributes that determine all of their requirements. Again, for all of their business models, product types, regulated products, and jurisdictions. But thankfully, the Lighthouse AI facility questionnaire solves that problem for us. As an aside, our software subscriptions include a number of hours with the same team of Lighthouse AI research experts that built this questionnaire. Those experts will meet with you to confirm these details, help you to parse out any nuances, and ensure that you input these attributes completely and correctly. So not only is our facility assessment questionnaire complete, it's also continuously updated. When agencies add new licenses that apply to new facility attributes, or they add new facility attributes to existing licenses, our research team revises existing questions or adds new questions to the questionnaire to ensure that we are capturing all of those additional facility attributes. That covers how Lighthouse AI helps you correctly and completely capture your facility attributes that determine all of your licensing requirements. After you complete the questionnaire, Assessment 2.0 will use your answers to determine which licenses you must obtain based on your facility attributes. It also filters out everything that doesn't apply to your facility, which is what we're seeing on the screen now. Each row in this list that is loading on the left-hand side here corresponds to one license that this facility is required to hold. I always like to sort by jurisdiction because that alphabetizes and groups your requirements by jurisdiction, of course. And as you click through these items on the left, you will find all applicable information right in the center of the screen. This is going to help you confirm that you need the license, including but not limited to the application name, necessary forms and agency links, prerequisites if applicable, a total fee breakdown, a list of necessary attachments for your application, the definition according to each jurisdiction, and any additional notes. So because the software automatically completes the assessment, you no longer need to do the following. You don't need to determine which agencies in each jurisdiction actually have licensing requirements. You don't need to determine how each agency defines the business model for each of your facilities based on that facility's activities. The definition is right here. You don't need to identify the licenses that apply to the business model for each facility in each jurisdiction in which you do business. And you don't need to assess the details for each license to determine whether a facility must actually acquire said license. The Lighthouse AI state licensing software automatically completes those 4 steps for every license, every agency, in every jurisdiction. And by automating those steps, Lighthouse AI eliminates all of the mistakes commonly associated with completing those steps manually, mistakes that will cause you to overlook state licensing requirements eventually. Because of that, all we need to do is pause or obtain each license. Not only does the software complete the facility assessment automatically, but it's also doing this work for us continuously. Our research team and AI tools continuously crawl agency websites, applications, state and federal legislation, state agency guidance documents, and agency FAQs. Our research team and technology immediately update the back end of the Lighthouse AI software to reflect the changes that they find. You'll find those here in Notifications 2.0. Then the software looks for matches between all of your facility attributes and any new licenses that may have popped up from the 80 plus agencies spread across the 51 jurisdictions. Every month, the regulatory landscape shifts faster than any state licensing professional could realistically track on their own. In January of this year, US agencies issued more than 2,000 changes affecting the drug and device supply chain. Lighthouse AI's notifications cut through that noise by consolidating updates across 200 agencies in all 51 jurisdictions, delivering real-time alerts the moment that something changes. Instead of digging through scattered websites and PDFs, your team gets clear, actionable notifications directly to your inbox. While our new searchable database lets you explore every update across all business models and products with robust filters to quickly narrow results by product type, category, or jurisdiction. With Lighthouse AI, you stay ahead of the change, not buried under it. You can even choose to receive push emails so you never, ever miss a change. You should also know that we sell various software packages, meaning you could buy this surveillance capability all by itself, or you could buy it as a combination with your assessment. Our subscriptions also include change assessments, meaning assessments that determine the change requirements for all of your active licenses affected by a reportable change, like change of ownership or address, officer, designated representative, and so on. But that's how Lighthouse AI helps you to discover overlooked requirements. In addition to helping you discover overlooked requirements, Lighthouse AI helps you to reduce avoidable deficiencies. That's the second big benefit that Ryan and I want to show you today. So we're going to hop over to the management module. On average, state licensing professionals say they make avoidable mistakes in 20% of their applications, resulting in avoidable deficiencies. That's because application details are unclear or incomplete, and certainly they are scattered across many agency websites. Unlike agency websites, our software compiles application details that are clear and complete. All of that information is captured here in the Requirement Details tab. And this will be listed for every license that you manage in the Lighthouse AI software. It begins with the application name and even a link directly to an online application, if applicable. You'll also find the definition according to each jurisdiction, important notes and information on processing time, a full fee breakdown, as well as a list of attachments and prerequisites. The Lighthouse AI software compiles all of these details into one place, so you know exactly what you need to do to submit the application, meaning exactly what to do to avoid those avoidable deficiencies. Not only does our software help you reduce avoidable deficiencies and discover overlooked requirements, but our software also helps you to eliminate lost and forgotten tasks. The right task management solution is critical for your state licensing. State licensing professionals tell us that they lose track of anywhere from 5 to 10% of licensing tasks due to too many handoffs, and sometimes it's just the overwhelming volume of the tasks. The management module in Lighthouse AI tracks your tasks for every activity for every license. That's what we're seeing on the right side of the window. This is important because state licensing professionals say the typical company does not renew 6% of their licenses on time on average. And a major reason is that state licensing professionals either don't have or use an adequate task management system. The Lighthouse AI software shows you everything that you need to do for that license, including what we call activities on the right. By activities, we mean initials, renewals, and reportable changes. Notice that we have 4 completed activities. One for our initial license, two reportable changes, a designated representative and an officer, and a renewal. We can click on any of these activities to view the tasks. So not only does the software track activities, it's tracking all of the associated tasks as well. The software will also track the completion of all of your tasks for all internal stakeholders for all of your licensing requirements. It will also notify stakeholders of new and expiring tasks, again, with the option for email notifications. Let's return now to our dashboard. The management dashboard tracks your progress in managing your state licensing. On the right side of the screen, the software summarizes your licensing status, upcoming renewals, expiring documents, and open and ongoing tasks. Our software enables you to supervise the completion of every state licensing task for all of your licenses, for all of your facilities, from a central single source of truth. Allow me to summarize what we've covered today. The Lighthouse AI state licensing software helps you to discover overlooked requirements, reduce avoidable deficiencies, and eliminate lost and forgotten tasks. And that's how the Lighthouse AI software enables you to reduce your risk of noncompliance by 99%.
All right, so now we've made it to the Q&A section of today's webinar. It's not too late for you to submit questions. Please feel free to enter any questions that you have now at the bottom of your Zoom window with the Q&A button, and you can submit any of those questions anonymously if you'd like. But let's take a look. Feel free to submit those questions now. Tessa, are you ready to start taking a look at our audience's questions today?
Absolutely.
Perfect. All right, great. Let's see what we got. All right, the first question we received was, does the software cover all states? I'll take this one. Yes, the Lighthouse AI state licensing software does cover all 50 states across the US. And I believe we mentioned that it does cover additional jurisdictions like Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico. Also, something I want to note is that not only does it cover all current requirements throughout all states, but this will also cover all future requirements. Tessa touched on this briefly earlier, but the software does monitor for new requirements. And so not only are you covered by the requirements that are live today, but all future requirements that come from all rules, regulations, and legislation from all 50 states and those additional jurisdictions. Perfect. Let's see, we have a few more questions here. Someone had asked, what types of notifications does the software provide? Good question. So Lighthouse AI offers what we call selective notifications. These notifications provide insights into, as I mentioned, new legislation, regulation, even proposed rules, fee increases, and emergency orders tied to specific requirements or states. What I don't think we really touched on, though, is the notifications are custom tailored to your business model and your activities. So you only receive the information relevant to your company. So this can be delivered in the software directly. And I think Tessa touched on this earlier, but you can also opt in to receive email notifications to make sure you don't miss anything. So this is great for reducing your research time and staying up to date with all the latest changes. Great. A few more questions here. Oh, this is a good one. Someone had asked, do you handle international requirements? So right now, international requirements are not covered at this time and will not show up in the facility assessment. However, users can manually add their own international requirements to management to track your renewal dates, any activities, or tasks. So right now, the software covers US domestic and additional jurisdictions like Puerto Rico, as we mentioned earlier. So really good question. Tessa, I'll throw this one to you if that's okay.
Yeah.
Um, Someone had asked, can the software track for multiple facilities or multiple sites?
Absolutely. Yeah, the software will totally support multi-site license tracking. To streamline your onboarding, we even offer license upload and verification services for all of your sites. So just send us your facility information and your license list for each. And we have an entire team that is responsible for loading and validating everything so that your team can begin working in the system immediately.
Perfect. Thank you, Tessa.
You're welcome.
I think we have time for one more question. Someone asked, is Lighthouse AI secure? That's a really good question in this day and age with, data integrity and hackers and all of that. So yes, the Lighthouse AI software is ISO 27001 certified, which is the international standard for software and data security. So that guarantees that Lighthouse has met and passed security audits to prove our adherence to globally recognized standards for information security management. We can also send anyone the certificate if they'd like to see it and verify for themselves. So, great question. All right, everyone. I think we are at time. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for your interest in Lighthouse AI. If you answered yes to any of the poll questions to learn more, we'll be reaching out shortly. But if you have any additional questions, our information is up on the screen now. Please feel free to visit our website and send us a message there, or simply send us an email at hello@lighthouseai.com. Thank you all so much. Hope you have a great day and hope to see you on future webinars. Thank you.